Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Anthony Thompson II. Today, I'm actually gonna have a great time because this is one of my brothers. We literally grew up together.
Absolutely.
I know his entire family. I'm so proud of him, man, because just to see the growth in the new in the levels. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate
His family already is on a certain level that we was always like, the name is the name.
I appreciate
You know? So go ahead, brother, say your name, what your business is, and we about to just rock, bro.
John Conyers III, entrepreneur, political candidate, native Detroiter. Yeah.
Basically, he like, I'm just one of them dudes.
I'm just a guy, man. I'm just, I'm a guy that's passionate, that cares about the community, my community where I grew up, the city where I spent a lot of my time I grew up in, and so, I'm just here. I'm here to support. I love what you're doing. I also admire the growth. We both came a very long way.
Very long way, brother.
So,
very long way.
Happy to be here and talk with you and support the movement.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. I just got to say, John is an official 7 Mile Living Noise player. And I'm saying that because I'm from Joy Road, Exit 9. And my grandparents stayed right by John and all them. And so I spent a lot of time, basically I grew up in two neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
But when I say the guys over there off 7 Mile taught me how to get fly. It was a freaking show every day of the week. You had to be on point. And this one of the original fly dudes, man. I ain't never see this dude not right. I stopped wearing just white tees and black tees because of them. And I was like, oh, I can't do that and I go over there. I got to be super fresh, dog. I can't have a scuff on my jimmies, nothing. Like, nothing.
Listen. It's Detroit. It's what we know for. You gotta come fly all the time. Like it's a lifestyle. What Nip say is in you, not on you.
I was gonna give some credit, like you, Tommy Duncan, Yamache, Rudy. I'm about to go down the list. Like dudes was like, y'all was coming out, dog. We about to hoop. We about to hoop. And they take their polos off before they hoop, and then they got the crispy cutoffs. Like it wasn't just a regular, just ripped cutoff. Like y'all did it different, man. So I just had to give 7 Mile that credit, man, because 7 Mile kept it fly all the time. West 7 Mile, so y'all know what it is.
Yeah, it's a 7 Mile thing. Listen, shout out to the East Side 7 Mile too. They go crazy.
I got love for them.
But West 7 Mile, it's
a different thing, dog. And y'all had all the pretty girls over there. Golly, man. My parents would be like, when you coming home? I don't know.
You know what's crazy about that? Is that, West Siders always was trying to talk to East Side girls.
No, that's a fact.
And East Siders always trying to talk to West Side girls. Like, it's some West Side girls for sure that's like,
Yeah.
But I was, yes, we had them in our neighborhood.
Oh, we had them. They was bougie.
I was just.
They was super bougie.
The East Side shorties, I was.
They show love. I ended up going over to 3200 East Lafayette. So going to King, bruh, the East Side showed me love, and I got mad love for the East Side. Like some of my closest friends over there, what I'm saying? But they know what it is.
Got to. West Side forever.
So let's get into this talk, bro. I want to talk about a few things because people think you just did politics, but you've done many other things as well. Mm-hmm. We're going to touch on the family because, your family is my family, and we're going to talk about them. But I want to talk about, too, how I think you're going to bring some dynamic to politics because of the fact of the way you were embedded in the culture. So I want to talk about how not just the fashion, because we touched on that because we love to get fly and we drove fly whips. That's just what we did. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk, too, about how some of the stuff you did, like in the music industry and film, and how that's ingrained in you as well. And that's why you just have clear vision and able to project things. And I just want people to hear where it comes from.
It really comes from my father. As a kid, especially as I got older, he would always talk to me about how everything is connected. I got my start in music just probably like I really started writing raps like 2004, 2003, whenever had to be 2003, or whenever the first Carter came out. Mm-hmm. And that's all my cousin Aaron would play. and we started writing raps. This is before me and my dad really got close, and just the angsty, you know how it is. You gotta, whether your dad was not there or your dad was there but he wasn't very involved. Like, you so you get to that age where, like, a father needs to be a little more involved and a little more present, and my dad wasn't, and I just kind of felt some type of way about that. So I was writing raps, and then I linked up with Sean, my homie Jay John. I linked up with my homie Jay John, who started bringing me around like Tone and Earl, and I was already cool with B Wash.
Them office days was fun, bro. The office days were fun.
So it was one of them things where, it was just organic because I was already writing. Like, I wasn't like I didn't even know that he was signed or anything like that. It was just an organic thing that, like, I was making music, Jay John was giving me beats, and then it just kind of, turned into something else. But yeah, the music piece is just everything. I think everything in my life has been organic. It hasn't been something that, like, I was ever seeking out. It was something that I was into or involved with at the time, and I just I let God and life kind of take the lead.
I just felt like during that period, the reason I brought it up, because I felt like during that period is when I seen the transition to manhood for you.
Yeah.
Like, real talk. Really, because I know us as kids riding bikes. You know what I'm saying? So I seen such a transition in your thought process, and when you start writing, and I was like, this is where he get in his bag. You was doggone near in your writings, telling stories, preachy. I could see some of the political aspects, even though that wasn't your target with it. I can just hear your voice. And I start seeing you shaping during that period and refining who you are. So to see who you are right now, it's exciting for me because I saw the molding process.
Yeah, no, I think especially when my mom went away, because, so there was the first phase of that is, like, I remember getting in trouble. Like, I was 16, or maybe my senior year when I came home when I was finishing up school at Renaissance, where I would be in the studio with Sean and Mike Posner, and I'd be late to school. Me and Jay John would come home from the studio, like, he'd drop me off because I wouldn't think I was really driving. He'd drop me off at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go to school the next day, but I was just in the studio, like, writing hits. So I think especially that's when it really, like, took shape for me, and I was actually, like, good, because, like, I think whether it's basketball, whatever the case may be, like, you may do a thing, but, like, you can't really measure yourself until, like, you can measure. You're like, oh, I think I knew at an early age, because, like, this is before they started putting, like, if you hear a new album now, you can test this theory out. The hit song is normally the third or fourth track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the day, it wasn't like that, right? It wasn't like that. Or back in the day, like now, they may only promote or do one single.
Yeah. Right?
And then it's just whatever after that. Whereas, like, I remember as a kid, I would be attracted to and I would listen to, like, I would listen to an album all the way through, but then I would be able to pick out after that first listen through. I would be drawn to the singles before they were singles. And so that kind of influenced how I looked at music. And so I always knew I had taste, because, like, man, I'm always picking a single that ended up being the one. But I didn't know, as, like, with my own voice, like, how that stacked up against people that were really good.
That's crazy, because that's A&R work. But the reason they will wait, because they wanted to see what people are drawn to before they start putting the money behind it and pushing it.
Correct.
And I remember that time, too, because I don't know if you remember this, that period your senior year, because remember I was in college when you was your senior in high school, and your mom called me. And she said, Anthony, I need you to talk to John, because, he'll listen to you. He doing what you do with this music and entertainment stuff, and, I just want you to help guide, because he all in. And I was like, well, anything he dedicated himself to, he going full throttle. So, I just like, you got to let him walk through it and do what he do. And she just was like, yo.
Yeah, she's very much.
She saw something different for you. That's what it was.
Everybody did. I think the seeing something different, you got to let it happen in its own time. That don't mean it's not going to happen.
Yep.
But you got to have it can't just be a linear path, right? Like, the straight line doesn't really shape you. If you don't have any resistance on either side, you don't have any ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, you don't have a real story to talk about. So I think when my mom went away, that's really all I had.
Yeah.
Was music, and like, cause my dad was doing his thing, and I had to leave school to come take care of my little brother. And so that's when I was like, oh, I'm nice. Like, I'm really, like, I'm better than people at this thing. Yeah. And that just kind of shaped, you know, one, my ability to write and tell stories, but also it kind of fortified me in terms of feeling like I could compete with anybody. If given the like opportunity and the resources to be able to do the thing, whatever it may be, like, you can't tell me I wouldn't be, like, I'm not as good as this person.
See, I think what made it difficult for your family was the fact of you sit on so many gifts, and they wanted to home in an area they felt that your family's already successful. So it's really hard to let your kid veer off and try stuff and do other things, and then they're having some success already. Like, oh God, like, pull them back. We don't want you to go that way. We already set this up for you to go over here. So sometimes as a parent, because I'm a parent now, you know, as a parent, I watch my kids with all the talents, and they way smarter than me. They honor roll students, all A's and B's. Like, it's nothing to them. They geniuses. But it's hard for me, too, because sometimes I'm like, okay, son, I've been through this. I done walked through this already. Do this right here. Just going to get you success. And he's like, nah, I want to do it like this. And I'm like, I got to understand sometimes, because they in a whole nother era that they going to think and do things differently.
Yeah. I mean, that's the long and short of it. I think that, like, you know, I learned a lot of lessons. I think I made a lot of, you know, I was smart about it. I leveraged, you know, what I learned from growing up with my family on the west side of Chicago, or West Chicago and Wyoming, I should say. With, like, the political aspects with my father. So, you know, he's a big advocate for artists' rights. And so because of that, like, I had a lot of resources. And I think it's interesting, like, you know, and the story will be told also in my book about how most people thought that my relationships or my success in the music business came because of Sean. And it was because, like, yes, that was definitely like a added bonus, but, like, the relationships that opened the doors for me were, like, because of my dad. Like, I had, like, all the opportunities because of my dad, and then, like, people were like, oh, you're already working with and writing with an established artist. Cool. That makes it easier for us to justify why you're in the space versus, like, we're just doing a favor for, like, a member of Congress, right? Yeah. Like, that really, really, like, I think that's the thing that, like, I think has always gone unnoticed about me is, like, yeah, my dad was my dad and my friends are my friends, but, like, people don't, like, to stay there or to be able to continue to talk to people and have those relationships. That's got to be you, and that's got to be talent, right? You got to do the work. Still to this day, people ask me to come and write in session. I'm like, I don't do that anymore. It's also very weird. It's also very weird to do it, like, not having written in a really long time. All I know how to do is, like, let's trim the fat on this song, because I don't know what the kids are talking about today. I do know what they're talking about. But I'm gonna say, like, I feel like more like Sean Carter in that, like, or Jay-Z. I feel more like Jay-Z in that, like, I am of a certain age, and this is what I'm going to talk about. I don't have anything. The only thing I can tell you is, like, whatever you're talking about, here's a better way here's a way to say that more succinctly and more effective. But I can't tell anybody, like, what to write about, because I'm not a writer in that way. Like, I'm a writer.
The wave is different too. Yeah, it's the way. It's just, you know how it go, man. You know, and it's just like, I really love the young guys because they're so smart to me. I was just talking to Will about that, Plugged In Will. I was saying these kids are so smart because of business, man. They really get into the bag. Like, they're streaming, and then with the merch and the way they doing things, I love it. They getting these endorsement deals. And I'm happy for them, and I love to see it. The only thing that scares me is the crashing out. That's the only thing that's scaring me, the stuff they doing. Like, we didn't do, like, putting stuff on camera and some stuff they doing. I'm like, dog.
You know, the other thing for me is, you know, I wish that they would really, like, I'm not going to say any names because I don't want it to be, like, I don't ever want it to be misconstrued. So I think there are a lot of my friends that are still successful in the music space. Like, they really focus on how fast they could write.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, when you want longevity and you want a career, let me rephrase that, because there are people that have longevity. I think when you're looking to make a lasting impact, and you really want to hit, you got to focus on crafting a song. Like, I have been a part of Kanye sessions. I have been a part of Big Sean sessions. I've been a part of DJ Mustard sessions. I've been in a lot. I've been in Ty Dolla sessions, Mike Posner sessions. Like, those songs don't happen because they were moving, like people were trying to write it so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Those songs happen because, like, okay, but that could be better. How could I say this line better? Or you may have the whole verse may be everything you need to say, but maybe I'll rearrange the verse. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll rearrange the words and put them in a different order. It's still the same verse that I had 6 months ago or a month ago. I just rearranged the order. And I think people get obsessed with, like, how fast they could do something versus the quality of it.
And it's like, I started off being in those sessions as well and working with artists doing that. And for me, my business background and going to school for business, I just like, we spend a whole lot of time. I could be doing this. That's the part that pulled me out of being in the studio every day. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to, especially when I started meeting the business guys. When I started meeting the executives, I'm like, this is the space I belong in. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not sitting up in here being a studio rat up in here every day, all day, for 2 weeks to create 4 songs. I ain't doing it. And then waiting to get paid. You know how that go. You might not get paid for 6 months. And I'm like, 6 to 9. Yeah, I'm just saying, 6 to 9 is an average. I'm like, I'm trying to get money. I need money coming in every day. Mm-hmm. So my focus changed. But I want to touch on, too, I want to get into, like, the political space with you. And I want to give a shout-out to both your parents because I love them. Monica, you know how I feel about your mom. That is my baby. That was my teacher. That was my baby. I love her. Your dad was cool. He was always smooth. I never got to smoke a cigar with him. That was a goal, And he was just always cool, laid back, like, you know what, Anthony? He just said just like, it's so cool. He was always so cool, man. But I want to talk about, that political space, for you, because we can go everywhere with this. Mm-hmm. But I really want to home in on, how your career started in the political space and where it is today and going. Because I know you see stuff down the road. So I just want to hear from you and give us the title of that book too, if you don't mind.
Well, I was, another saying, I was born in it, not sworn in it. So, for me, it's been my entire life as it relates to politics. How I ended up making it, because you of all people know, this is not where I thought I would be.
Yeah.
I think it was really just born out of taking a step back and looking at what was happening in my city, the lack of space that was being created, or the spaces that were available to us slowly being or drawn down. Like, there are fewer and fewer spaces for us, and having an understanding of like the implications of that. Like, like this district, this city it's the blackest city in America. It's the second poorest district in America. So we're already at a disadvantage. And then, having leadership that is not, that doesn't look like us, that doesn't have the history in the city and understand how far we've come, and doesn't have a vision for where we can go. I think that was really the impetus of it, right? So, like, for me, running for office, it was, being from the city and understanding, our history, and having a vision for where we can go, and being able to utilize the network and the tools that I was, given at birth, right? That was the impetus, right? Uplifting the working class is the campaign motto, or a campaign slogan, and that's what we aim to do. I think, Detroit is a blue collar city. Michigan is a blue collar state. Obviously, we have wealthy people here, but the heart and blood, the heart and soul, the lifeblood of this state and this city are people that go to work, get up every day and go to work. And we need to continue to create space and focus on making sure that not only that they have opportunities, but that their children have real meaningful opportunities to get ahead, not only in this state and in this city, but in this world, in this country. And that was it. That's the bottom line. Both of my parents were the first people in their families to get a college degree, and that the challenge and what that means for Black America and for Black Americans is not lost on me. And so, I wanted to keep that going, and also, do my best to bridge the gap between Gen Z and younger millennials and our elders to try to, create a generational bridge politically.
Man, you doing your thing. I see you everywhere though, bro. You out here kissing babies, shaking hands, walking old people across the street, walking through all the businesses. Like, I'm like, it is no way if you had a family right now you could do all this because you don't sleep.
That's why I don't have a family right
You do not sleep, bro.
That's exactly why I do not have a family right now.
I want to also hear about your campaign. Mm-hmm. What is the focus, and what do you need from the people to get to where you're trying to get to right now?
I think for the campaign right now, we're just focused on fundraising. So we have devised a strategy, or we are working a strategy where if we can get, 3,200 people to give us $300, that puts us at $1 million. You can do it monthly, $30 a month.
Tell them where they can go to.
Just ConyersForCongress.com and set that up. But yeah, the campaign, like I said, is about uplifting the working class, investing in education, investing in infrastructure. Climate change is real. I think, when we think about climate change, all we think about is global warming, but we don't think about, emissions right from the we have an automotive plant on the east side, and we got the Marathon Petroleum plant on down southwest. And those two plants have created higher instances in asthma than anywhere else in the state of Michigan. And the problem is, and the reason why, again, one of the reasons why I'm running for office is that, it has become cheaper for companies like a Stellantis or a Marathon Petroleum to pay the fines than it is to, stop what they're doing and actually do right by people. So much so that they're just buying up property that surrounds the petroleum plant because, so they don't have to stop doing what they're doing, but it's also hurting the environment. And because of that, black and brown people historically and statistically are the people most impacted by climate change. Whether if you look at the flooding that happened on 94, you look at the heat wave, like if you look at the heat wave, and let's say DTE, our power goes out, right? Mm-hmm. The people most affected are the people that don't have generators, our elderly, our poor folks that don't have the access to the things, and they're also most likely the least to get service from a company like a DTE when their power goes out. They're like last on the list, right? And so we got to focus on we got to focus on climate change because it absolutely impacts black and brown people more than we really think about.
Man, you hitting some stuff on the nose. I mean, I'm pretty informed, and I didn't know any of that. Like with the climate, and then them being that close and the effect locally for us. Exactly, you getting in Congress. What are the main issues in your first agenda? The things that you're going to do, and what we need to be aware of.
Well, for me, I think another reason why I'm running is I'm a child of an incarcerated parent. 1 in 4 kids, which makes 25%. In the city of Detroit, have a parent that is in prison or has gone to prison, right? So number one, giving voice, an authentic voice in Congress about, what happens in everyday life. I think also helping to change the narrative. I think there's a lot of talk about, I want to try to shift not only white people, the general thought process of how we think about black people, but also black people's thought process of how we think about black people. Because I just found this out, and it's absolutely a true statistic. I verified it and vetted it. There's only, when we think about black people and we think about what's real, we think about people growing up in the projects, people growing up in the hood. Do you know what the percentage of black people in America that live in poverty is?
What is it?
It's only 18% now. Right? So that means there are more of us that are doing better. Yeah. Right? But we often engage with a lot of the same industries. And so what I'd like to do, and this is part of why I'm still really passionate about the film business, and maybe one day I'll go back to the film business, is that the portrayal, what we show of black people and what we are capable of and what we actually, we show less of what we're capable of and what we actually do on a day-to-day basis than what we actually do. right? And I think that's important to help change that narrative. And I want to try to bring, you know, as much as it's about legislation, we could talk about that. I also want to bring, you know, people from industries like real estate, people like Don Peoples, John Rogers of Ariel Investments, who I was just with on Friday, bring them to the city of Detroit. These are black billionaires. You know, Don Peoples is the largest black landowner in America. No black person owns more land than Don Peoples. John Rogers is the wealthiest black hedge fund manager in America.
Yeah, I've been trying to get to him too, because I got a $50 million project that I've been trying to get to their offices. So yeah, you need to be a part of this project, bro.
Let me know. We'll talk about it.
Man, you in there with some heavy weights, brother. Jesus, man. These guys that I have access to a certain level, but boy, you on a whole nother level.
Hey, man, when you get to these, you know, I'll tell you this. When you get to these tables, I think you realize they're people just like you.
That flat out.
I think the most important thing is not to pitch them, but, like, really ask them what they want, like what they're looking for. I think fostering an authentic relationship with people is, like, the best way, right? And just having conversation, just talking to them about, you know, what's going on, what are they seeing.
And you know that I've done that my entire career in life, and it's I just really, that's how I live. Like, I want to work with people I like. I want to do what I like every day, and you know, even the relationships that's fostered like ours, our relationship has been since doggone their diapers, you know, and it's just like this might be the first time we even sitting down doing something out of going to eat together and hanging out. You know, real talk. That's how authentic our relationship is.
This is the first time. This is definitely the first time. I would add also that, like, more important than, like, trying to get a hold of the big dogs, I think the biggest thing is, like, leveraging your network, like, you know, laterally, right? So, like, working with people that are at your same level, and finding people that are at your same level that are interested in the same things, and putting that money together. I think there's more money to be made, and it's evident if you see it. You actually see it all the time with, like, the legends. Like, it's more money to be made when you look at, like, Babyface and L.A. Reid, right? Instead of them doing something like, you know, trying to get a label deal, they came together, they made hits, and then they're like, the label came to them. Or, you know, when you look at the Rockefeller, original Rockefeller was Dame, Biggs, and Hov. They put up 33, and did just distributed through priority. Rockefeller came to them, right? And that's what created their empire. So I think that, like, a lot of times, you know, when
Def Jam came to them.
Def Jam came to them. Def Jam came to them.
I just be wanting the kids to know the accuracy.
My bad. Yeah, that's my fault.
You good.
Def Jam came to them when they were trying to get a deal with Priority. They were trying to get a deal with every major, and then everybody was like, nah. And then the Priority distributed. It went crazy, and then you got the folks you got.
Yeah. Man, bro, this has been so informative, bro. I appreciate your time. You my guy. I know you busy and you be running around everywhere working.
I'm happy to do it.
So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the information you just gave to the people. I'm just going to say this right here. You know you have my support.
I appreciate that.
You know, and we got to do something to kind of help keep driving you to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah, man, I think, you know, like I said, campaigns are group efforts. It's not, I can't do it all by myself, especially when you're running. I'm running against a guy who's damn near a billionaire. So, you know, you've heard this many times. People say, well, it's not always about the money. A lot of times, sometimes at the end of the day, what it comes down to is it is about the money. And so, you know, with this campaign, we're asking people to give whatever they can give, donate, invest in however they, you know, in whatever way they can. You know, we've come up, again, if we can spend 90 cents of every dollar on voter outreach, and we can touch people 9 ways, whether it's, you know, media on YouTube, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, by mail, which we will do, or on television, we're guaranteed to win this election. And so, you know, if you can give $1, $13, $30, you know, $3,300, whatever the case may be, it all adds up to get us towards that goal. And so you can find me at ConyersForCongress.com, and all my social media is on there. So if you go to Conyers, FOR, Congress.com, you'll find me, and, you know, hopefully you'll support.
Man, everybody, let's make sure we support Mr. John Conyers III. We appreciate you coming. And, man, you know I love you, man, and God bless.
Love you too, bro.